If meta ads take you 2 hours a day, this is the kind of system that can cut it down to 2 minutes. Because the real-time suck usually isn't strategy. It's the busy work around the strategy. The daily checks, the reporting, the naming, the wait, why did CPA spike moment? The client update you have to write every Friday even though you already know what it's going to say. That's why I built a system to take those recurring checks off my plate. They monitor the account, summarize what changed, flag problems, and tell me where to look next. So I'm not checking ads 10 times a day anymore. The system checks them for me. And that mattered because I realized I was spending most of my time checking ads, not improving them, which is a terrible trade, right? Because opening Ads Manager doesn't make your ads better. It just tells you whether something got worse. And if you're running ads for your own business or your clients, that's constant checking quietly eats your day. You check spend, you check the lead, you check like metrics, you check if a campaign randomly fell off KPIs, then you do it again 2 hours later because you still don't trust it. That's what I wanted to fix. In this video, I'll show you the 5 automation that turn meta ads busy work into a 2-minute check-in, how each one decide what's actually worth your attention instead of dumping more data on you, and where to keep a human in control so you're saving time without letting automation make risk-count decision for yourself and your business. But first, think about the smoke alarm. Imagine if the smoke alarm in your house didn't just go off when there was smoke. Imagine it sent you a notification every time someone made toast, boiled water, opened the oven, lit a candle, or breathed too close to it. Technically, it would be giving you more information, but it wouldn't be useless. And that's what most meta ads reporting feels like. More dashboard, more columns, more chart, and more numbers, but not more clarity. The goal of these automation is not to give you more data, it's to build a better smoke alarm. One that stays quiet when everything is normal and only interrupts you when something actually needs attention. Every automation I'm about to show you fits into one of these 3 buckets: monitoring, reporting, or action. Monitoring watches for problem. Reporting summarize what change action triggered the next step, like creating a task, tagging a campaign, drafting a report, or alerting the team. And just to be clear, action does not always mean the automation changes the ad account. Most of the time, I want it to notify me first. And I want automation doing the checking, summarizing, tagging, and routing. I do not want it to randomly turn off a campaign because the account had one weird morning. So the first automation is a daily 60-second meta ads briefing. The pain here is simple. You open Ads Manager way too many times a day. Not because you always need to make a decision, but because you're nervous. You want to know if spend moved up normally, if CPA spiked, if leads slowed down, if one campaign started eating the budget, or if anything obvious broke. So instead of checking all of that manually, this automation pulls the key number every morning: spend, lead, CPA, CTR, CPM, conversation rate, top campaign, worst campaign, and the biggest change from yesterday or the 7 days average. Then it sends one simple summary to Slack, email, or Notion. Something like yesterday's spend was $842, CPA was $47, which is 12% above the 7-day average. Campaign 3 is driving most of the increase. Creative 5 has the biggest CTA drop. No urgent action needed yet, but watch today. That's the whole point. Most days, I don't need Ad Manager. I need a yes or no answer. It's something weird. The second automation is a performance drop alert. Because the worst meta ads problem are not always dramatic. Sometimes the account doesn't explode. It just quietly gets worse. CPA creeps up, lead volume drops, one campaign start spending more, but producing less. And by the time you notice, you already wasted money. So this automation watches for meaningful changes. For example, if CPA is increased by more than 25 compared to the 7 days average, of lead volume drop by 30% or spend goes up, but conversion do not move, it sends an alert. But the key is that the alert can't just say CPA is up. That's not helpful. A better alert says campaign 1 is down 28% since yesterday. CPA went from 42 to 58, spend is normal but conversion rate dropped, likely issue because the landing page drop off or because of ad fatigue. That turns Ad Manager from something you patrol into something that calls you when you need it. You should not have to babysit the account just to find out it had a bad day. The third automation is a creative fatigue detector. Creative fatigue is sneaky. At first, the ad works. Then frequency climbs, CTR start climbing, CPM rises, CPA get worse. But because nothing fully breaks, you keep running it too long. Bad creative does not always die loudly. Sometimes it just slowly gets expensive. So this automation watches creative level signals frequency increase, CTR declining, CPM rise, CPA increase, and performance compared to that creative own baseline. It's not asking, is this ad bad? It's asking, is this ad worse than it's used to be? Then its output something like creative number 3 is likely fatigued. Frequency is up like 31% CTR, and whatever the number is. You just got the point. This saves time because you stop guessing when to rotate creative. And the better version does not just flag the problem, it logs the lesson. What was the control? What changed? Was it the hook, the proof, the offer, the CTA, or the first 3 seconds? Because the best output is not winner declared. It's winner logged, loser explained, next test recommended. The fourth automation is auto tagging and naming cleanup. And I know this sounds boring, but messy naming is boring in the same way. Plumbing is boring. You only care when it breaks, and when it breaks, everything gets expensive. Because at some point, you need to answer simple questions. Which offer is working? Which audience is working? Which hook is working? And which campaign is creating qualified calls? And if your naming is messy, those questions turn into detective work. So this automation enforces a clean naming structure. Campaign objective, offer, funnel, audience, angle, creative type, hook, date, and the test number. It can also tag campaigns by audience, family, pain point, buyer stage, TA, and creative concepts. The output is a clean dashboard where you can compare hooks, offers, audiences, formats, and lead quality without rebuilding the effort every time. Bad inputs create confident nonsense. Good inputs create useful automation. The fifth automation is a client-ready report. This is the one that saves your Friday. Reporting always sounds simple until you're pulling screenshots, explaining why CPL changed, summarizing what worked, and trying to turn a messy week of data into something useful. So this automation creates the first draft. It pulls spend, leads, CPA, booked calls, qualified leads, and top campaigns, weak campaigns, and creative winners. Then it turns that into a simple report with key winnings, key issues, what was tested, what was learned, and 3 recommended next actions. But here's the important part. Do not let the report stop at a surface level ad metric. Cheap leads do not matter if they never book. Booked calls do not matter if they never show up, and a lower CPL can still be a bad thing if lead quality drops with it. So for B2B, the report needs a lead quality layer. Qualified lead, book call opportunity, and closed one if you have it. That's what turns the report from a pretty summary into a decision tool. The automation writes the first draft. You add the judgment, and that's really the whole philosophy here. Do not start by letting AI change budgets, pause campaigns, or make risky accounts decision on its own. Start with summarize, alerts, tags, draft report, recommendation, task for the team. The goal is not to remove the human touch. The goal is to remove the repetitive checking. The human shows up at the right time. Because once you understand that, the real question becomes, what should you actually automate first? Because if you automate the wrong part of your meta ad system, you can make the whole thing faster and still not make it more profitable. So before you build any of this, you need to understand how to actually use Cloud Code Setup Work, because that's what turns these ideas from cool automation into something you can actually run inside your meta ads workflow. Click right here to watch how to use Cloud Code to automate your meta ads, where I'll be breaking down the full step by step.